What's that? It's Hippo Balls. Hippo Balls coming live from the Hippo Den. It is Hippo himself. Year-end review Hippo Balls, end of season Hippo Balls, probably last Hippo Balls of the year. May do some off-season Hippo Balls, but most likely it's the last one for a while. So let's strap in. It's been a great season, of course. We've got who's back, who's dead, who's not back, but not dead. Starting off with who's back. We got King Hippo himself, me. I am back. Back-to-back championships appearances, back-to-back championship appearances. Won the ship this year, 2 ships in 5 years, 3 or 4 ships overall. After a long run of being horrific in Snake, auction has been good to me. Was it Fantasy Pros or was it me? Who's to say? But King Hippo has been cooking with some gas. Of course, Nima, amazing season for Nima. One of the best regular season GMs of all time. I am kidding. It wasn't amazing. One of the best teams we've had in many, many, many years. Nima should have won. It is what it is. Navid lost. I will decide your fate eventually. Um, but Hippo up. Nima also up some. Next on Who's Back, we got Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Gypsy Rose Blanchard. Um, Also, Tim, congrats on second place. I wanted to do more. I have more stuff actually on the league, so I'll get to that. But on Gypsy Rose Blanchard's back. If you watched The Act on Hulu, you would know the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her mother Dee Dee Blanchard. Uh, this was a story of Munchausen by proxy, which is basically where you make your kid think they're sick when they're not actually sick, and like you make them sick. They was giving her a bunch of medicines and saying that she had leukemia and asthma and muscular dystrophy and brain damage as a result of a premature birth, and that she was only really her brain was only 8 years old, even though she was like 30. Super weird story. Good show though on Hulu. Good. Patricia Arquette, I think, is in it. Good show. Worth watching. Chained her to the bed, made her use a wheelchair, got her legally, mentally, and competently made her legally, mentally incompetent, so no one would believe her. Changed her birth certificate. Finally, she like sneaks off and gets on the internet somehow. Her mom didn't let her have a phone or anything. She sneaks off and gets on a phone. Meets this guy Nicholas Godejohn on Christian Singles. And they eventually talk about their life together and how they're going to run away and how they're going to elope, and everyone thinks she's crazy. But eventually, they plan to murder Dee Dee and her mother, and they do so. They plan. Eventually, she invites him over, and she hides in the closet and covers her ears, and he kills her, and they run away. They get caught pretty quickly, of course. Not the best plan, but of course, everyone feels bad for her because her mother's crazy and, chained her to a bed and made her think she was sick all those years and didn't let her do anything. So she doesn't get too much prison time, and she's actually released this week from prison to tons of fanfare. One of the hottest celebrities on the street right now is Gypsy Rose Blanchard. She's getting a ton of interview requests. She's on every big TV show. She wants to meet Taylor Swift. Says a ton of guys were writing to her wanting to be with her in prison. She wants to be on Survivor, and she also wants to meet Taylor Swift because she says that they have a lot in common. Um, she also met her husband in prison while they were writing to each other, and everyone was making fun of this guy, but she says he has a huge penis, so that's good for her and good for him. Gypsy Rose Blanchard, she is back. Should hear more from her. I think she has some interviews coming out on like 2020 and everything else. We'll see that. Next up, we got Cat Williams. Cat Williams back, who I saw in Tallahassee last year. Went on Club Shay Shay this week, which is Shannon Sharp's podcast, and set the internet on fire. 2.5 hour conversation where he goes on to attempt to take down every comedian in the world. He calls Kevin Hart an industry plant, says no one ever remembers a Kevin Hart sold out show before he became famous and had all these movies, which I don't know. Calls out Cedric the Entertainer for stealing jokes, which it seems like he did from the proof that's been put out there. Said Harvey Weinstein offered to blow him in front of everyone at the studio. Weird, for like money. Said Steve Harvey stole the Steve Harvey show from Mark Curry's Hanging with Mr. Cooper sitcom, which I remember, and I think maybe he's right on that. He gets into a bunch of weird stuff. A lot of the stuff he's saying is probably true. Some of the stuff is like fabricated, and then some of the stuff is super duper lies. Very entertaining, anyways. Cat Williams is very back. People having to come out of like the woodwork, like Ice Cube and Kevin Hart, and like make statements. Ludicrous. saying the Illuminati is behind making black actors like Martin Lawrence wear dresses and how a bunch of them have worn dresses, which is true. Calls Kim K a whore and says that we should stop talking about Kanye West because he's mentally incompetent. He says that Chris Tucker is a pedophile and he was on Epstein Island a bunch, which is true. He is on the Epstein list, and we'll get into that in a little bit. Says Diddy and Ludacris are Illuminati, and says that him and Ludacris went to the same Illuminati party where they said one of them would get 20 movies and $10 million each if they change their hairstyle and do a bunch of other stuff. And he says he said no, and Ludacris said yes, and that's why Ludacris has all the Fast and the Furious movies. A lot of it's ridiculous. Worth a watch though. They're at 7.8 million views for a 2.5 hour conversation. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Good for Shannon Sharp. Good for Cat Williams. Next up, we got giant pandas. Giant pandas are back. This lighting is horrific. I'm getting crushed here, but I do it for you guys. Giant pandas. On Friday, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi insisted that peaceful coexistence between China and USA must continue, and it's been going on for about 45 years. We've made diplomatic inroads with China, and he wants it to continue. And for an olive branch, he promised that giant pandas will return to the US this year, specifically in California by the end of the year. Good for giant pandas, good for the US, good for Vivek, who will get to see giant pandas. Uh, Lastly, on who's back, we got Willis Gibson, aka Blue Scuddy, who I guess is a gamer online. He's a 13-year-old from Oklahoma who beat Tetris, the first person ever to beat Tetris. I didn't realize that no one's beaten Tetris. I guess I've never beaten Tetris. It came out in 1989, and no one has ever beat it except for this week. Blue Scuddy did it. Willis Gibson, have a day. You beat Tetris. That's pretty cool, I guess. Who's not back but not dead? Everyone on the Epstein list. Everyone on the Epstein list. The Epstein list dropped this week. Someone suing someone for like libel or slander or something, and a judge ruled that some of the Epstein list can come out. It's not really a full list, it's like a deposition transcript with some names. Anyways, most of the people that we've heard about, we kind of already knew were on the list: the Bill Clintons, the Trumps, the Prince Andrews. There were some fun names that were on it. Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking's on it, the guy with the wheelchair, with the super smart guy with the wheelchair who did the boop, 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 boop into his computer and it talked for him. That guy, turns out he was into orgies, which is weird. Having an orgy with Stephen Hawking, not really my cup of tea, but that was a weird island altogether. He was also into midgets. Weird vibes from Stephen Hawking. I don't think the Stephen Hawking camp really cares, though, truthfully. Bill Clinton, of course, we already knew he was on there. Trump was on there. Prince Andrew was on there. Prince Andrew knows. Leslie Wexner, who was a super rich guy, he's on there. Michael Jackson and David Copperfield on there. Those are some big names. I don't think they really care either, though. And it's not, they're not saying they did anything illegal per se, but it's not a good look. And the deposition transcripts are kind of saying that they did that, but whatever. One person not on the list was Jimmy Kimmel. And this is a story this week because Aaron Rodgers has a longtime feud with Jimmy Kimmel. They're both lib and big pubs, and they're against each other on COVID and a bunch of other stuff. And Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show, as he always is. Pat McAfee's paying him like $1 million an episode to come onto his show. And they always joke around about a bunch of stuff. And Aaron Rodgers thinks it's cool to still talk about how people don't get the COVID jab or do get the COVID jab and calls everybody Mr. Pfizer. He's a weird guy, but he has a big feud with Jimmy Kimmel. He says the list is being released and Jimmy Kimmel should be worried because he's on it, of course. Kimmel's had enough of it, so he tweets out that he's an asshole and that if he continues, that he will sue him. Not a good look for ESPN because ESPN is owned by ABC and ABC employs Jimmy Kimmel. So Pat McAfee has to go on to apologize. Aaron Rodgers still hasn't apologized because he's a piece of shit. And then Pat McAfee goes on to say that someone in ESPN, mainly Norby Williamson, who's the head of event and studio production at ESPN, is trying to sabotage his show. A lot of drama. Pat McAfee is probably bigger than ESPN, so they're not going to do anything. They got rid of the Barstool show, but that wasn't as big as Pat McAfee's show. I assume Pat McAfee is going to beat those charges. Aaron Rodgers, though, kind of a doucher, threatening to sue him, though, kind of a bitch move by Jimmy Kimmel. But Jimmy Kimmel was not on the list, so Aaron Rodgers should watch his mouth. Lastly, on who's not back but not dead, bars. Bars are not back but not dead because it's dry January, and some people are doing that. I have a bunch of friends doing it. I'm not doing it, but bars are complaining that no one's drinking enough. I will try my best to do so. Who's dead? We got Claudine Gay, that anti-Semitic, plagiaristic piece of shit bitch, resigned as she was forced out as Harvard president. As you know, she said that the slaughter and extinction of the Jews. She couldn't say if that was for or against the conduct code of Harvard. Go fuck yourself, rotten hell, Claudine Gay. You're dead. Wander Franco is dead. The Tampa Bay Rays star arrested in the Dominican Republic for allegations of sex with a 14-year-old. It's a story basically where I think there's a few allegations. Not a good look. Also, weird laws in the Dominican Republic where he's like kind of arrested, but he hasn't been charged. And he's allowed to leave, but he has to come back. He's taking pictures in the police station with his lawyers, like smiling. I don't really know what's happening. I don't know what kind of like sentencing you get for that, but it's a bad look, of course, for the MLB. I don't think he ever plays again. He's also fucking 14-year-olds, and he kind of is admitting it in a statement. Like he's saying, like, love made me do it or something. I don't know. Weird vibes from him. The mom's also being charged or investigated and arrested before she's charged because he's paying her money basically for sexual exploitation, like sex trafficking basically of her kid for money. She gets a car, she gets a house, and supposedly he's done this with more than one family where he has like basically buying their kids to have sex with. Not a great look for Wander Franco. He's dead. Lastly, on who's dead, we got anyone flying. Anyone flying. Windows blew off an Alaska Airlines flight mid flight Friday, and they had to emergency land. Boeing 737. Boeing also came out and said their 737 planes uh, must be grounded and urged airlines to check its MAX jets for loose bolts. There was a plane crash in Japan, and of course, Nima trying to read an article on a plane while changing a diaper at the same time, which was heroic. Danny probably dead. He flies too much. Not great for Danny. Um, Show of the week. Show of the week, we got The Curse. The Curse. It's on Showtime. And I bought Showtime through Amazon, so I have that somehow. Nathan for You. Nathan Fielder, hilarious. He also had that other show, also hilarious. Emma Stone's in it. You thought it would be like some hilarious comedy show. It's not a hilarious comedy show. Pretty dark comedy show. That's like also drama. Very weird show. It's by the Safdie brothers. One of them's also one of the main characters in it. Those are the Uncut Gem guys. They do a bunch of other stuff. It's about a couple filming a show about building green houses in a Native American community, and then it gets into a bunch of their marriage issues. I don't know what I'm watching, and I don't know if I'm having a good time. I think I'm having a good time. Last episode premieres the last episode of the season, which I don't know if it's the series finale or the season finale. I don't know. I don't know what I'm watching. I think it's good. Last episode comes out this week, I think. If you get a chance, watch it. Tell me what you think. Another thing, I don't know if I had a good time watching or not. Movie of the week, Saltburn. Barry Cogan and Jacob Elordi, which I think he's from. What's that fun show that all the kids like on HBO? He's from, the fun show with the kids with Rue and everybody likes it. I'll tell you. It doesn't matter. So the movie is about. Well, I looked this up. Uh, it's about some Oxford University, which I've also studied at. But Oxford, it's a good university, of course. This Oxford loser student with no friend befriends, tricks this guy, and befriends this guy to be friends with him, who's this cool rich guy who lets him stay at his house, his big like super mansion castle, with his family over summer. Turns out that the loser guy is a pathological liar, and he does a bunch of other stuff. He's the same actor from Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is also a crazy weird movie. He always plays this really weird character. You also see his penis a bunch in this movie. Uh, it's Euphoria. Euphoria is the show. Also a good show. You should watch. Very cool hip show. Saltburn. I don't think I liked it. I don't think I liked it. Everyone's talking about it. You should watch it if you want. But I don't know. I give it like 5 out of 10 hippo balls. Quote of the week. Quote of the week. It's not a full quote. Trump said that water kills magnets. I thought that was funny. Conspiracy of the week. Conspiracy of the week. Miami aliens. Hundreds of cop cars were outside Bayside on New Year's Day, and I'm sure you've all seen this video. Like hundreds of cop cars out Bayside. The most cops I've ever seen ever on video. Or outside Bayside on New Year's Day. There's rumors swirling that there's 10-foot tall aliens walking around out there and UFOs. People are saying that it's weird that there were so many cops and then there was like no story about it. People are saying that people are trying to hush hush things. Video footage comes out of a very, very grainy video of this like 10-foot tall creature walking around Bayside. It's like real questionable. You should look at it. It's worth watching. But basically, police come out and say that it was 50 teens who were fighting and shooting off fireworks. The people hearing the fireworks assumed that since the fighting was going on, that it was actually gunfire. So everyone started scattering. That's why all the cops showed out. They thought there was 50 people having a shootout with each other. It turns out it was kids just fighting each other, like the falls back in the day, and then shooting off fireworks. But it also could be 10-foot tall aliens. Who knows? Do your own research. Um, I have some roster moves that were made in the year that made teams what they were. This is me kind of, tooting my own horn. On September 13th of 2023, I picked up Puka Nakua, dropped Van Jefferson for $26. Puka Nakua, of course, ended up doing me a very big solid. I Gabe picked up Kyron Williams for $18 and dropped Hollywood Brown. Also a great move for him. And Siegel spent $41 to drop Chigozium Okinawa, the tight end from the Titans, for Joshua Kelly. Also, solid move. The most transactioned player of the year, also Joshua Kelly. I think Danny picked him up like 23 times, picked him up and dropped him 23 times. $41. You could have had Puka and Kyron, I think, but instead you got Joshua Kelly, who is your boy for life. Um, Me and Sean made that trade September 17th, Debo and Pacheco for Cup. That worked out for me. I got Gus Edwards for $6, CJ Stroud for $3. Dropping Rasheed Rice, though. Gabe spent $45 for Khalil Herbert. Ben spent $79 on KJ Osborne and Jeff Wilson Jr. on October 11th. Not a great day of spending for him. I got Jalen Warren for free. I made the trade McBride for Hollywood trade. And of course, I started the season with Damian Pierce as my running back, who was horrific. Great GMs make moves and figure it out. They don't make excuses. There was a lot of excuses to make. Keenan Allen, who was my best player of the year, didn't play the last 2 weeks, but that doesn't matter. Isaiah Pacheco saved my season. Isaiah Pacheco won me a championship. Uh, Good for me. Great for Tim. Great. Tim in the 6th seed, coming all the way to the championship. Very impressive. You went through a gauntlet of Nima and Gabe. So cheers to you as well. We got the college football championship tomorrow, I think. Those were great playoff games. Of course, I'm upset that FSU was not in the college football playoff. They got smoked 63-3. I know that we're all going to say it didn't matter and the players were sitting. It's still not a great look for everyone outside of the FSU universe. Doesn't make it look like they belong there. But the Michigan Alabama game was great, and the Texas Washington game was great. Washington Michigan right now is, this is dragging 18 minutes, whatever. It's the last set of balls. Take what you get. When is It's 7:30 at night. I thought it was later. That's a good start time. 7:30. I like that. Minus 4.5 Washington. I think give me plus 4.5 Washington. Minus 4.5 Michigan. Give me the plus 4.5 for Washington. I really like Penix. I really like their wide receivers. I think their defense is decent. I will take Washington. I will also take the under 56.5. I know nothing really. Huge game tonight, of course, for the Dolphins. Maybe I'll do a raffle or something tonight. I should. I should do a raffle tonight. I will do a raffle tonight. Biggest game of the year. We got tons of injuries. It is not looking good for the Dolphins, but of course, never count us out. We're a great team. Right now, Dolphins are +3 at home, which really means that we're like +6 because you get 3 for being home. I don't love that spread. Definitely not taking the game at all. I am going to be rooting for the Dolphins 100%. We have a lot of injuries. Xavier Howard's out. Um, of course, Jalen Phillips is already out. We lost Chubb. Waddle's not playing. Mostert's not playing. Of course, Connor Williams is out. Holland is very questionable. Both of his knees are like really banged up. It doesn't look good. The Bills have like no injuries. Of course, the Bills worked us earlier in the year. Huge playoff scenarios in this. If we beat the Bills and the Jags win, we play the TJ Wattless Steelers. If we lose, I think we play the Bills again next week. Not good. We definitely need to win this game somehow. And we need the Jags to win too, I think. We need the Jags to win. We need Trevor Lawrence to play. There's a bunch of playoff scenarios. Anyways, I am rambling on, am I? Like a silly nanny. Have a good what a season we had. What a time. All right. Have a good Sunday. Fins up. Later we'll do a raffle.